Dr. Mindy here, and on this video, we're going to answer the question, I guess I'm going to answer the question, about is fasting scientifically proven for women? I just want to say that a lot of you have asked about the science for women. Let me start there. We are really hard to study. When I go to my enlightened view, I say, we're just hard to study. We have so many of us are hormonally different. We have hormones coming and going, so we're really hard to study. I mean, think about it. If I was to study a group of women, I would need to line them up in the proper time of their cycle to get a really accurate view of how fasting is affecting hormones. So we have that complicating factor. So there's very few studies for women. We also have, unfortunately, a lot of people believe we just haven't put a lot of research dollars into studying women. And maybe because we're so difficult. So there's not a priority and we're difficult. Having said that, in all the research that I've done on fasting, which has been a lot, and all the research I have brought you all, they usually fall into one of these studies will fall into one of two categories. First, it might be an animal study, a mouse study. Now, I look at the mouse studies as they get us in the ballpark. So, it kind of gives us something to work with, and then we apply it to our body. We put it through the lens of our hormones, and we see what works. That's what all of us here on my channel have been doing. So when we look at the animal studies, it gets us in the ballpark, and then we have to apply them. When we look at the male studies, I want you to keep in mind that we have sort of two things going on with the differences between men and women. Men are driven by one hormone. They're driven by testosterone. It's the hormone. It actually converts into estrogen in their brain, and they get testosterone every 15 minutes. So you're men, you are on a 24-hour hormonal cycle. Women, we're not on a 24-hour hormonal cycle. We're on a 28-day to 34-day cycle. We're all a little different. And so just for sake of lingo, we're on a monthly cycle. So with men, you've got testosterone in and out every 15 minutes. You see with women, estrogen comes in for 10 days. And then all of a sudden, testosterone comes in for 5. And then all of a sudden, you see estrogen come back, and then progesterone comes in for another 7 days. So there's like this ebb and flow that goes with our hormones, which is why I created this fasting cycle. I lay out 6 different science-based fasts. And in these science-based fasts, it's actually my favorite chapter. And it's chapter 2. It's called The Healing Power of Fasting. And in this chapter, I lay out 6 different fasts, the science behind the fast, and why you would want to do the fast. What I want you to do when you get to this chapter is I want you to start to think about this. Like you'll see, I give like bullet points, like here's why you would do this fast. What I want you to start to see is that it's like a Swiss Army knife. Sometimes you pull out the big knife. Sometimes you pull out a little knife. Sometimes you pull out the wine opener. Sometimes you pull out the tweezers. But it's got a tool that's really helpful. So fasting is the same way. And when I lay out those fasts, what I want you to know is most of them have either been done on mice or they've been done on men or a mixture of men and women. So with that in mind, I do want to highlight one of my favorite studies on women, and it's in the book, and it's really, really important that we highlight this because it is a study about breast cancer. And it was an observational study of over thousands of women. And what they found is that if a woman coming out of traditional chemo radiation care for breast cancer, after she came out of all that traditional care, she went into something as little as 13 hours of fasting. If she went into that for every day, she didn't even cycle her fast. This was just every day. That within 30 days, she had a 64% less chance of a reoccurrence of breast cancer. Now, I don't know a drug that can hit that mark. So that was an observational study done on women, and we know that if you want to prevent breast cancer, If you have a diagnosis of breast cancer, you want to make sure that you are fasting fairly regularly, at least 13 hours. Now in the book, if you're a cycling woman, I'm going to show you how to do that to match it to your cycle. So when we're looking at science, I really want you to not ignore a piece of science because it was done on a mouse or a man. I want you to go, okay, that put me in the ballpark. Now in this book, I'm going to teach you how to see it through a hormonal lens. And then once you get to know how to see it through a hormonal lens, you're going to know how to read future studies and understand how they apply to your hormones. The second thing I don't want you to fall prey to is a lot of times women, we will see big media articles out there that say fasting is not good for women and fasting is not going to help women lose weight. And when I dove into those studies and see those studies, many times, like there was a really famous one that came out about intermittent fasting and was like, intermittent fasting doesn't help you lose weight. Well, they needed to come to my YouTube channel because it helps everybody lose weight. But when I went and I looked at who was in the study, it was everything from 19-year-old boys to, or men to 65-year-old women. There is no way we should ever put a 19-year-old man and a 65-year-old woman in the same study, especially when it comes to weight loss. So we've got to dive into that nuance. But what I ultimately want women to know is, yes, there is science. Is it always applicable to you? No. But is there an effective way to take that science and use it for your hormonal advantage? Absolutely.
Okay, check this out. I have a free fasting guide for you all. It's free. And it's going to teach you all the basics of fasting. It's going to teach you how to kill hunger when you fast, which is really cool. And it's going to show you how to break your fast, among many other things. All you got to do is click on the link below and enjoy.
So science is important. Application of that science to yourself is more important. So in Fast Like a Girl, I bring you the science. Now let's apply it to you. And chapter 2 has all the science you need to know. If you are a woman that has been watching my stuff and really benefiting and seeing hormonal changes, please put it in the comments so we can all learn from it. We're all in this together. So as always, I hope that helps. Okay, are you fasting and you're still not losing weight? Check out this video because you might be missing a key part of your fasting experience that's gonna unlock weight loss. So if you think about it, all the humans that emerged out of that time have the gene that allows us to go without food. And that gene, they believe, is in all of us today.